What's going on, guys? This is Miasin. So ever since the Mimighoul cards were first announced, people kept asking me what my thoughts on the deck were. And honestly, I do believe that it's a very consistent and very powerful deck. The one issue is that it's not really optimal in the current format where cards like the Abelstar, the Black Witch exist. And I don't think it can keep up with Snake Eye going second. With that said, this deck has a lot of potential, and it is definitely one of the most fun rogue decks that you can play. And again, it's just a matter of time before it starts shining. And you can also catch people off guard because I don't think people will really catch up with the effects of the cards. And it's a TCG exclusive, so it's bound to for more support in the future. So next set, it's probably gonna get even better. But yeah, anyways, before we go into any of these combos, make sure you like and subscribe. You already know the drill. Really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. If we can get to 1,000 likes on this video, I will be making a spreadsheet video on this deck, so every single combo that you can do. And you really don't want to miss it out because I think this deck has a lot of potential and a lot of really nice combos and a lot of space for innovation. So yeah, I was able to already figure out some really cool plays in this deck, but I think it's just gonna keep getting better and better over time. Anyways, combo number 1, assuming that you got Mimighoul Maker, there is a 50% chance of this going into, you know, I mean, it depends because you don't necessarily choose what you get to summon here. It's completely at random, but you're always going to be revealing the Dragon and the Archfiend, granted that you have nothing else, so this is the 1-card combo. And there are 2 variations, so yeah, this is the first 50%, so assuming that you're giving your opponent the Dragon, and then you're giving yourself the Archfiend, you're going to be special summoning the Archfiend from your hand off of the optional effect of Maker to summon a Mimighoul monster from the hand, and then you're going to be using the on-summon effect of Archfiend, so flip that Dragon face up. And the Dragon doesn't really do anything right away because it just destroys every other face-up monster on the field, so it's kind of useless, honestly. That's the reason why this is like the worst combo. And then you're going to be linking off into Moon of the Closed Sky. Don't worry, this is not going to be like the full Fiendsmith combo that you're used to seeing. We're not going to be playing a Fiendsmith engine in this deck. As a matter of fact, we're only playing one Fiendsmith monster. No Luri, no Tractus, nothing else. Yeah, equip back the Link 1, and then summon the Princess, revive back the Fiendsmith, and the real reason why we play the Fiendsmith engine is not that we can, so that we can summon Beatrice or Caesar or DSE Ray, but rather so that we can summon the Constellar Ptolemy M7. This card is extremely good in this deck because now we can recycle back that Mimighoul Dragon, and we never normal summon, so now we can normal summon the Mimighoul Dragon, and on summon this gets a search for a Mimighoul spell trap. Pretty much every single combination of cards always gets you to your field spell, which is really cool. And now the dungeon can get you back in the Archfiend, and then we link off into IP Masquerena, summon the Archfiend on your opponent's field, and this is a lot more interruptions than you think. It's actually kind of scary because while we have the field spell and our opponent controls a set monster, he cannot normal summon monsters, so that Snake Eye Ash for now, it really does nothing. If my opponent flips the Mimighoul Archfiend, it's gonna go really bad for him because he's gonna have to send a card from the hand to the grave, and then I draw a card, and I get back the Mimighoul Archfiend, which means that the IP Masquerena can now link off into SP. Or my opponent can just only special summon monsters, but if he does that, then it's still not a workaround because I can go banish Mimighoul Maker from the grave, and then flip that Archfiend, and then I can proactively trigger it, and then draw a card, rip 1 card from my opponent's hand, and then I get back my monster, so that IP into SP is live, I can banish that Fiendsmith, and this is actually enough to kill your opponent, regardless of what else is in your hand. You have a lethal follow-up. So look at this, our opponent is gonna pass turn on absolutely nothing, we draw a useless card, doesn't matter, because we have the field spell, we can search or recycle back from the graveyard to the hand, and we're gonna be recycling back that Dragon, search that Maker, and then search your deck for the Cerberus as well as the Archfiend. It doesn't really matter that much what you get here, but even if like your opponent banishes like 3 spells or traps, the Cerberus can always still get back the monster that you banished off of SP Little Knight. The goal is really just to summon as many monsters as possible so that we can go into access code and then revive back the Fiendsmith, and then we can go into whatever and then just deal a lot of damage. And this is gonna be enough to kill your opponent. So yeah, very simple. And you know, it gets you to where you need to go. Actually, off of 1 single card, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, no, this deck has a lot of potential, like I said, and we're just getting started, which is the best part about it. Anyways, let's get into combo number 2. So this time, we're going to be getting lucky with Mimighoul Maker instead of getting unlucky like combo number 1, where we unfortunately had to give the Dragon to our opponent. We're this time going to be giving ourselves the Dragon and giving the Archfiend to our opponent. Again, this is completely RNG. Like, you don't control what you give to your opponent and what you give to yourself. You only control what flip monsters you are revealing to your opponent. That's it, that's all. Anyways, now that we're summoning the Mimighoul Dragon off of, again, the Mimighoul Maker effect, we get to search for the dungeon right away, and then activate that, and then get your search for the Archfiend, normal summon that, and then flip the Archfiend face up, which is going to trigger its effects. So our opponent loses a card from the hand, we draw a card, and then we get back the Archfiend, and then Moon of the Close Sky, Requiem, summon the Fiendsmith, get back the Link 1, and then go into Necroquip Princess, and then revive back the Fiendsmith, and yet again, we're going to be going into Ptolemy M7, and then recycle back the Archfiend, and then special summon the Archfiend to our opponent's field, and then link off into IP Masquerena so that we were able to trigger an Archfiend on our turn instead of having to wait one full turn until we Archfiend our opponent, and we can do it again on our opponent's turn. So now my opponent is going to be top decking into whatever, doesn't matter, and then special summon, and that will trigger, of course, the Maker in the grave, flip that Archfiend, and then draw a card, make my opponent lose a card. Everything is like optional, so even if my opponent has 0 cards in hand, it's kind of like Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Bearer, can still trigger like the other effects. So like get back my monster and then, you know, draw a card and whatever. Okay, so this time I'm going to show something a little different and also not going to involve the Fiendsmith engine. Not that it really matters because I think you should be playing one Fiendsmith in your deck anyways. It's not going to ruin your bank. It's not like you have to play 3 Fiendsmith and 2 Tractus or whatever and a bunch of cards in the extra deck. It's very minimalistic, so, you know, it's not too bad. But this time we have Mimighoul Dungeon and whatever Archfiend. It's not even that needed. I feel like the dungeon is enough, itself is enough here. Search your dragon and then normal summon that. Get your search for the Maker, obviously, right? And then reveal the Cerberus as well as Archfiend. And then special summon the Archfiend, flip that Cerberus on the field. And we're going to be assuming that we are lucky enough to excavate a dark monster. Well, banish a dark monster so that we can summon it. And then we can again give the Archfiend to our opponent and then go into Shadal Construct because it requires 2 flip monsters. So it's a Shadal card that also works in Mimighoul. And we can fuse using like any dark monster, doesn't really matter which one, and we can go into Winda. So yeah, this is a really nasty lock because Winda prevents special summons if you're trying... it prevents players from special summoning more than once in a turn, but with the field spell, our opponent cannot normal summon if he has a face-down monster. So yeah, this is kind of like almost a soft lock, where my opponent is pretty much forced to do something really undesirable if he wants to play, and obviously that's really good for us. Alrighty, so for the 4th and final combo, I think you can kind of expect what this is going to end up with, because this deck is kind of known to play Summoning Curse, because it can hand loop our opponent, since we keep special summoning monsters to our opponent's field. Yes, this is how Summoning Curse works. It's not like Maxi, where if you Maxi your opponent, and then, you know, you get Kaiju'd or something, you know, you don't draw a card because the Kaiju was summoning on your, like, hold on a second, whatever. No, you draw a card because your opponent still Kaiju'd you. Yeah, it's not like you don't draw a card. Yeah, but with Summoning Curse, it's not it's not like the player that summoned the monster, but rather the controller of the monster that has to banish a card from the hand. Yeah, I think I made it a little too complicated for no good reason. I'm really stupid. I apologize, but whatever. It's still gonna make sense when I execute it. But yeah, field spell and then search whatever. Activate your Summoning Curse and then give the Archfiend to our opponent. Summoning Curse triggers for the first time. Remove a card. Our opponent chooses, by the way. So it's not like you have to roll a dice every single time. Otherwise, it would have been absolute nuts. But it's still good enough because we're hand looping ourselves, like our opponent, for like literally a full hand. Normal summon the dragon and then search for the Maker. Obviously, set your 2 cards and then activate the Maker because that way you don't have to banish anything with the Summoning Curse, and then search for the Archfiend. It resolves in the same chain, so the Archfiend is not going to get banished off of Summoning Curse. And then it triggers mandatory effect, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3, flip the Archfiend with Archfiend, and then flip that, and then discard a card, draw 1 card, and get back the Archfiend, and then we can go Talents, look at our opponent's hand, make him remove a card. So a lot of things happened in one shot, right? We went Talents to rip a card, and then Archfiend to rip a card, and Summoning Curse rip to 1 card. So yeah, we ripped 3 cards up until now. Hold on a second, 4 cards. We still have to hand loop our opponent for the 5th and final card, which is going to be very easy to do. So yeah, we're going to be going Embodiment of either Crime or Punishment. They have the same effect. Flip that Cerberus face up, and then we can summon back any banished monster. So yeah, Kashtira Fenrir, that's kind of nasty. And then link off into Moon of the Close Sky. We don't, again, have to banish anything. And then we can go into the baby Fiendsmith engine. I'm going to call it like that. There we go. Not even the Fiendsmith engine. Because, again, we're playing 1 Fiendsmith monster in the main deck. And that's it. And even the extra deck is pretty compact. I mean, you have a lot of space. Anyways, Ptolemy M7 again. Recycle back the dragon because we never use this in-a-hand effect. Give it to our opponent and then trigger Summoning Curse 1 final time. We hand loop our opponent for 5 cards, And we still have IP with Fenrir, with Summoning Curse, and 2 back row with the field spell. And our opponent has Mimighoul Dragon, that's gonna be a Regeki. For him, not for us. A little unfair, huh? It actually feels like a tier 0 deck. Alrighty, so for the deck list, we're playing 12 hand traps because we don't want to lose all of our games going second, right? Otherwise, it's not really fun. So yeah, 3 Shifter, Exodia, right? The best card in the game. And then 3 Ash, very good hand trap. 3 Imperm, second best hand trap. And Dominus Purge, another very good hand trap if your deck can afford to play it. So you would have to play Light, Earth, and Wind attribute monsters in order to, you know, function with Dominus Purge. The other Dominus card that's coming out in Rage of the Abyss is the exact opposite, but instead of negating cards that search cards, it negates cards that special summon monsters. So yeah, this card pretty much can negate cards like Reinforcement of the Army, Prosperity, cards like that. So yeah, it's a good array of hand traps, I want to say, probably the cleanest ones, and the most generic ones for sure. For the Mimighoul engine, we're playing 1 Master only, and then 3 Dragon, 3 Archfiend. No Cerberus in this build, although you can play 1 Cerberus and you can play more copies of Master. I don't actually think this card is a great normal summon. I think Dragon is much better, because this card on normal or special, it searches a Mimighoul spell or trap, which is way more productive than searching a monster with Mimighoul Master, because when you're searching a spell or trap like Maker or Dungeon or Room, you got a lot of different options. Mimighoul Room is a Book of Moon and a Scarlet Sanguine. It special summons a Mimighoul monster from the hand or deck to their field. Very good effect. And then the Dungeon is a field spell that searches every single turn ignition effect. You want to have access to this card as early as possible, and it also recurs back from graveyard to hand. And it has another Floodgate effect, and it boosts the attack and only boosts the attack of your monsters, but bro, they become like super strong really quick. Like this becomes 3k attack, 25, 19, and this would be 2200 attack. So yeah, this is like one of your main huge win conditions, and Mimighoul Maker obviously is completely correct. This card is the best starter in this deck for sure. So the fact that Dragon gets you there but Master doesn't means that Master is just the overall weaker card, unfortunately. But it's still a card that I think you should play at least as a one-of, just so that you have your option to search like a 3k beat stick that can every single turn place a like flip a face down monster on the field to face up attack position, so that you got you know, that grind game ability with your Mimighoul Dragon and Archfiend with Master. So yeah, 7 Mimighoul monsters. I don't think you need more, because again, the field spell gets you infinite recursion. So that's all you need. And then for the Kashtira engine, because I think this complements the deck very well. Again, no conflicting, because Fenrir is Earth and Unicorn is Wind. So yeah, 2 Fenrir, 2 Unicorn, 1 Birth, and 1 Ritzos. Then you can also search with Terraforming, so you got 5 field spells. Yeah, there we go, 5. I guess, because Terraforming is one of them. And yeah, you're also giving monsters to your opponent that kind of have mandatory effects, which would trigger your Kashtira Unicorn, so that you can look at your opponent's extra deck and make him remove 1 card right away, like proactively, even if your opponent plays 0 hand traps. That's kind of filthy, honestly. So yeah, the same way you can force your opponent to use monster effects with Unicorn, you can also do that with Rust and Triple Tactic Talents. Gimmick Puppet does the exact same thing with Gimmick Puppet of Dark Strings. And obviously 1 Fiendsmith, which is ironically a brick in this deck, but it's not a Garnet, it's a Takatumborg, because this card right here, it also summons from the hand. It's a hand or deck, so worst case you draw it, it's not the end of the world, don't cry about it. At least we're not denaturalizing the deck by playing Fabled Luri and Tractus and a bunch of cards, and also it would make the deck super expensive for no good reason. There are a lot of ways to make this deck even more budget if you really want to, but I do believe that 1 copy of the Fiendsmith is honestly the best way to play this deck at the current moment. Anyways, only 1 Prosperity. I actually don't even think this card is that great, because the extra deck to me was kind of valuable. Yeah, sure, you can banish all the Fiendsmith cards, but that's like the only usage for the card. After that, you kind of run out of, and not really actually, maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I think with 3 Prosperity, it might be a little overkill, because your engine can draw cards, Archfiend can draw you a card, and then Triple Tactic Talent. I'm pretty sure that Prosperity and Archfiend, it would clash. Even though this is like your opponent's monster that makes like the opponent, which is you, draw a card, you let me know in the comment section. And yeah, I'm pretty sure I've explained everything so far. Yeah, 3 Mimighoul Room, obviously this is a Book of Moon and a Scarlet Sanguine, absolutely insane, and the Graveyard effect is really good as well, and the Graveyard effect of Maker is very good. I showed it in the combo video, I mean in the combos. But the Graveyard effect of Mimighoul Room, you can banish it from the grave, and then bounce back any amount of Mimighoul cards from your field to the hand. So when you got a bunch of like useless monsters that have very low attack because you don't have the field spell, you can get all of them back to their hand, and then you can summon them all to your opponent's field and then they become really annoying because obviously they have mandatory effects that will trigger and screw your opponent's life over. For the extra deck, Requiem, Moon of the Close Sky, Caesar that you don't really summon too often. Ptolemy is just so much better. Necroquip, Typhon, Zeus, Downerd with Assembled Nightingale. You can make a 4-material Zeus, or that's just a win condition against Tenpai Dragon. They can't OTK you like that. The Embodiment of Punishment, so that you can proactively flip all the monsters face up. Just really good. And it's a rank 1 monster to level 1, very generic. So that's nice. And it's a quick effect once per turn during either player's turn. Underworld Goddess, because we're also playing Moon of the Close Sky, so might as well. It's just a nice way of beating, towers. Access code, SPIP, and Relinquished Anima. For the idea section, I'm not really going to waste too much time, but yeah, if you want to play Cerberus or more Masters, you can do that. DS E-Ray, Lacrimosa, Winda with Construct, I showed combos. Promenade Thrush, this card can shuffle back a spell or trap card your opponent controls to the deck, and it's just a generic rank 1 monster, so it's not too bad. Ensemble Robin, everybody knows what this card does. It's a really good card. Sequentia, yeah, if you want to burn for the 12. Gravekeeper's Inscription, very good card as well. It's another shifter in a way. Sol and Luna, I don't know if you necessarily need to play this card as of yet, but it might be good in the future. More Prosperity, Summoning Curse, very good when you know for a fact that you're going first. Going second, I think the card is a little less good. And then There Can Only Be One goes in match, and this card is really interesting. Reverse Reuse, it's a normal trap card, it's not once per turn. Very simple effect. It reads, target up to 2 flip monsters in your grave, special summon them to your opponent's field in face up or face down defense. So yeah, this card can give you pretty much an infinite grind game, and again, it revives back some monsters that your opponent absolutely does not want in his field. And it also, the fact that you're giving monsters to your opponent means that you're protecting yourself from Evenly, Lightning Storm, not Duster obviously, and Imperm and stuff like that, so that's always nice. And also, if your opponent's playing Kashtira cards, they're all going to be useless. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know how you feel about Mimighoul in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.